If any of you have played games from the Halo series, you've no doubt heard about the Flood, those greyish-brown zombie-like creatures that infect both humans and members of the Covenant alike. But there is actually much more of these parasitic lifeforms than what you see in the video games. From mindless, over-aggressive infected lifeforms whose only goal is to infect other sentient beings, to hyper-advanced Flood grave minds with the intellectual capacity and knowledge millions of times greater than any human could hope to achieve. Today on the Archives, we look at the 4 different stages of a Flood outbreak. When a Flood infestation first occurs, it's in its first and most vulnerable stage, the feral stage. This is the only stage where the Flood can be effectively combated through conventional means of warfare. At this point, the Flood may have infected a few hundred to up to 10,000 sentient beings. They have no coordination and have little to no strategy. They are overly aggressive and can be outsmarted fairly easily. However, this doesn't make the individual combat and infection forms any less dangerous. A standard infected human is sure to take multiple hits from a standard UNSC assault rifle before going down. In the feral stage, the Flood really only have one objective: to spread the infection and begin collecting infected biomass in order to construct what's called a proto-grave mine, and move on to the next stage of a Flood infection, the coordinated stage. The second stage of a Flood infection is the coordinated stage. This stage in a Flood infestation occurs when enough infected biomass has accumulated in an area to form what's called a proto-grave mine. We see a proto-grave mine in Halo Combat Evolved. A proto-grave mine acts as a sort of hive mind or central intelligence for the Flood. This makes them much more deadly, being able to carry out tactics such as ambushes and wave-like assaults. The proto-grave mine is also extremely intelligent, having both the combined memories and tactical know-how of all the victims that it was used to build it, and surpasses all but the most clever and cunning military leaders. This stage is also where pure forms come into action. These Flood infections aren't created from infected humans or aliens, but instead are created from pure Flood biomass. This makes them much stronger, resilient, and in most cases, smarter than conventional Flood forms. Some examples of pure forms are the Stalker form, Tank form, and the Juggernaut. At this point, the Flood numbers begin to rapidly increase, as more and more victims are infected, whilst tens of thousands of powerful pure forms are being produced near the proto-grave mine. This makes containment nearly impossible. As we see in Halo 3, it took the Glasston of half of Africa to fully stop a Flood infestation in just one major city. The Flood's main objective also changes. It still tries to spread across the planet, but now with a proto-grave mine built and constantly being added to eventually form a full-on grave mine, the Flood will then start to take and understand technology, getting the ability to pilot tanks, jets, helicopters, and even starships if they are available. And with millions infected, the Flood transcends to the next stage, the interstellar stage. At this point, fighting the Flood through conventional means is a lost cause. Multiple grave mines have sprung up, and many planets are being quickly consumed by the parasite. The Flood numbers are in the hundreds of billions, and the only hope now is to either orbitally bombard a planet until it becomes uninhabitable, or just blow up the planet entirely. This will prove difficult, however, as the Flood has gained the technical know-how to use military-type space vessels if they are available. Also, if a planet has enough infected biomass, another type of grave mine can start to form, the key mine. This is when all Flood biomass on a planet turns into a single Flood entity. These hyper-advanced grave mines have all the memories and knowledge of every being on the planet, giving it the ability to outsmart even the most advanced human AI. Speaking of AI, they aren't safe from the Flood anymore either. By using a technique called the logic plague, the Flood can corrupt any AI regardless of how advanced it is, and use them against their creators to extract vital information. There's only one case where the Flood has reached this level, and that was hundreds of thousands of years ago, before the events of the Halo games, where they destroyed the ancient Forerunners. At this point, there is little to no hope for the galaxy. Most of the planet has been consumed by the Flood, countless trillions are infected, and there's thousands of key mines and grave mines. 95 to 100% of the galaxy has been consumed by the Flood. At this point, they had reached a critical mass, meaning there's nothing left to infect. And unless they find another galaxy to infect, the flow will just simply die off. They have never reached this stage, however they have gotten very close to finding the ancient Forerunners, only being stopped with the activation of the Halo Array, killing all remaining non-infected life in the galaxy, with the exception of preserved numbers of each remaining species. This starved the Flood of their food supply, eventually killing them off. Well, that ends today's video. Sorry for the late upload, I was busy with college classes. Normal weekly uploads will resume. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to stay up to date with all lore videos that come out on this channel. I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.